Hey there and welcome to D&D Daily. My name is Sage and today I'm going to be doing a blind stat block reading of the Aspect of Bahamut. This stat block comes from the new Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. I'm looking forward to it. Hope you are too. Let's get into it. Known as the Platinum Dragon, Bahamut is the patron and progenitor of the metallic dragons. Since fleeing the First World, he has made his home in the seven heavens of Mount Celestia and is often numbered among the gods of that plane. Adventurers and dragons alike pray to Bahamut to uphold honor and justice, or when they need courage to face a great threat. In the most dire situations, a powerful follower of Bahamut who makes a tremendous sacrifice, a vast horde, or even the follower's own life, might convince the god to send aid to the world in the form of a divine aspect. This aspect is a physical manifestation of the Platinum Dragon, carrying his memories and will and a significant portion of his formidable strength. Interesting. So what pops into my head there is if your PC did something tremendous, great sacrifice for the world, this could be a cool way to celebrate that. Maybe your PC died protecting the world or doing whatever, and because of that great sacrifice, and then they meet this Bahamut aspect of Bahamut, and they probably wouldn't know right away, but I think that'd be kind of an interesting and cool reveal, and one that the PC would probably appreciate, to say that your sacrifice brought this great aspect of a god here. Oh, I like that. That's fascinating to me. Bahamut's aspect displays the full glory of the Platinum Dragon, towering over even ancient dragons. Covered in platinum scales, his physical features combine various elements of the 5 kinds of metallic dragons, according to some scholars combining them in different ways with each manifestation of the aspect. But Bahamut is also fond of traveling the material plane in disguise, so his aspect might appear as a wizened old sage, a young monk, or a songbird. In any form, Bahamut's aspect is often accompanied by 7 ancient gold dragons who favor disguising themselves as canaries. 7 ancient gold dragons with a challenge rating 30 aspect of Bahamut is pretty nuts. That can take on a lot of stuff in the world of D&D. In combat, Bahamut's enemies experience the full force of his justice, while his allies enjoy the full benefit of his mercy. His breath can wreak monumental destruction, work miraculous healing, and few things in the mortal world can cause him lasting harm. I'm excited to look into this stat block here. This sounds pretty intense. Aspect of Bahamut is a gargantuan dragon of the metallic nature, and it's lawful good. Armor class of 23, a whopping 585 hit points, speed of 60 feet, burrow of 60 feet, fly of 120 feet, swim of 60 feet. He can maneuver in any situation. Plus 10 to strength, plus 4 to dex, plus 9 to constitution, plus 7 to intelligence, plus 9 to wisdom, plus 10 to charisma. Absolutely phenomenal stats, and still dex was lower than I expected it to be. I think I might just have a perception of dragons having a higher dex than they actually do. Saving throws, a constitution plus 18, intelligence plus 16, wisdom plus 18, charisma plus 19, excellent. Skills, insight plus 18, perception plus 18, persuasion plus 19. Damage immunities, acid, cold, fire, lightning, radiant, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical weapon attacks. Whew, that's quite the list. Condition immunities, charmed, deafened, frightened, paralyzed, and stunned. Excellent. Senses, true sight 120 feet, passive perception of 28. Common and Draconic as languages, challenge rating 30, and a proficiency bonus of plus 9. Platinum Brilliance recharges after a short or a long rest. If the aspect would be reduced to 0 hit points, his current hit points total instead resets to 500 hit points. He recharges his breath weapon and he regains an expended use of legendary resistance. Additionally, the aspect can now use the options in the Mythic Actions section for 1 hour. Award a party an additional it's a bunch of extra experience for defeating the aspect of Bahamut after his Platinum Brilliance activates. Dang, so it's level 2. You beat level 1, and then bam, he's back to basically full health. New actions, absolutely brutal. 5 legendary resistances a day. His multi-attack is 1 bite attack, 1 claw attack, and 1 tail attack. So we're getting the tail in there. I like to see that. Bite is 23 piercing damage, 22 force damage at a reach of 20 feet. Claw, reach of 15 feet, plus 19 to hit. 2d10 plus 10 slashing damage. If the target is huge or smaller creature, it is grappled. Escape DC 20 and is restrained until the grapple ends. The aspect can only have 1 creature grappled this way. That's terrifying. Tell, melee weapon attack, plus 19 to hit, reach 15 feet. One target, 2d12 plus 10 bludgeoning damage. If the target is a creature, it must succeed on a DC 27 strength saving throw or be knocked prone. The grapple, I always want to grapple with dragons, but it's annoying having to use a whole action to do it, so that's phenomenal. Tell knocks them prone, so you have prone grapple combos. Not that you need it because your grapple just restrains. I think his claw is the standout to me. The bite's great, but the claw is really the pièce de résistance. So for once, I would want 2 claw attacks, maybe, because you can only grapple 1. Maybe that was a bad call. The Tell would still be good. Alright, so going back to the breath weapon, we can choose from one of many. The first is Exalting Breath. The aspect excels the restoring winds of Mount Celestia in a 300-foot cone. Each creature in that area of the aspect's choice regains 71 or 13d10 hit points. And each creature in that area of the aspect's choice that has been dead for no longer than 1 hour is restored to life with all of its hit points. That's really good. So this kind of feels like a Clash of Titans type situation where you have this Bahamut and probably the aspect of Tiamat, which is coming up next. So subscribe because you're not going to want to miss it. But yeah, so you have these Clash of Dragons, and sometimes your PCs would die between these monsters, and then Bahamut can pick them back up, and that would kind of be the scenario I'm seeing here, because there's very few parties that can even would or could fight this. So I'm trying to think of ways that my little party could be involved with this stat block, and I think the best way is to have a Clash of Titans that they get caught up in between. Alright, the next breath attack is Platinum Breath. The aspect excels Radiant Platinum Flames in a 300-foot cone. Each creature in that area must make a DC 26 dexterity saving throw, taking 12d10 radiant damage on a failed save or half as much damage on a successful one. Pretty simple, just damage. Alright, bonus action, it can change shape, do its thing, it can transform into any humanoid or beast while retaining its in-game statistics. Other than its size, the transformation ends if the aspect is reduced to 0 hit points or if it uses a bonus action to end it. That's one hell of a scary canary. Legendary actions. The aspect can take 3 legendary actions, choosing from the options below. Only 1 legendary action option can be used at a time, and only at the end of another creature's turn. The aspect regains spend legendary actions at the start of his turn. Sorry, I know you probably know that. I just read it. Alright, so attack, the aspect makes 1 claw or tail attack, so if you break out of the grapple, hey, legendary action, you're back in it. That's terrifying. Furious Bite costs 2 actions. The aspect makes 1 bite attack. If the attack hits a creature, the target must succeed on a DC 27 Wisdom saving throw or become frightened of the aspect until the end of the target's next turn. Solid. Mythic Actions. If the aspect's Platinum Brilliance trait has activated in the last hour, he can use the options below as legendary actions. Celestial Shield costs 2 actions. The aspect manifests 7 spectral ancient gold dragons around him that protect him. He gains 77 temporary hit points until the start of his next turn. That's nuts. Celestial Lances costs 3 actions. The aspect conjures 4 enormous lances of magical force that plummet to the ground at 4 different points he can see within 150 feet of him, and then disappear. Each creature in a 20-foot radius, 100-foot high cylinder centered on each point, must succeed on a DC 27 dexterity saving throw or take 7d6 force damage. A creature in the area of more than 1 lance is affected only once. Yeah, really big AoE. That's like a little village killer right there. Not that he'd ever use it for that. I don't see what he would use Celestial Lances for. More often than not, I see Celestial Shield being the stronger of the two. And that is the aspect of Bahamut. As I said, what stands out to me is a Clash of Titans that your party gets caught up in between, probably helping Bahamut against Tiamat. That's my initial impression. Of course, being a challenge rating 30 god, essentially, this is a very powerful stat block. And like I said before, the next episode we're going to be taking a look at the aspect of Tiamat, and I hope you join us for that. See you on the next one.